Well, good evening. Good evening, GPCA. Good evening, Dubai. I'm thrilled to be here and to be speaking about innovation. I saw one of the slides that Dayala showed said, innovation is the key to success in the plastics industry, or words to that effect. But I think for your business, it's more important than that. I think innovation is the key to survival, let alone success. Because let's be clear, innovation, which is happening all around us, produces winners and losers. When it comes to innovation, you are either the diner or you're the dinner. All right? It's kind of serious. Companies like Kodak, Woolworths, other big successful companies have been killed by innovation. So innovation is rather serious. Peter Drucker, the great management guru, said this. He said, every organization must prepare for the abandonment of everything it does. Not you have to change a bit, you have to improve, you have to spend some money on research and development. No, you have to be prepared to throw away everything and start again. One of my customers is Nokia. And Nokia started out in 1840 as a wood pulp mill. They did wood products. They did paper products. Then they started to make rubber products. They made Wellington boots. Then they made cables. Then they made components. Then they became the world leader in digital mobile phones. Now they're under big pressure. They're going to have to reinvent themselves again. And this is the challenge that will face your company sooner or later. You will have to reinvent yourself and reinvent not just every product, every process, every method. Everything you do, there's a better way to do it. And the key is innovation. So how do we do innovation? Well, there's a lot of things we could talk about. I don't have long with you tonight. I'm just going to talk about 2 or 3 really important things that as leaders you can do to encourage innovation and to make your companies more successful. And the first thing to say is that innovation starts with a vision. The leader has a vision of where the business is going. You don't say to your people, be innovative. They don't know what you mean. What you say to them is, we're here today, we're going to be somewhere different tomorrow. This is the vision for where we're headed, and I need your help to get there. I need your ideas. I need innovation in everything we do. And the leadership and innovation live in the same house. A leader always innovates. A leader always changes an organization. A manager just makes the current organization work well. If what you're doing is making the current business work well, properly, improving service, improving efficiency, improving costs, you're not a leader. You're a manager. A leader always changes the organization. A leader always takes it on a journey. And what you want is people on the journey who believe that the destination is worthwhile. You don't want happy people working for you. This is a big mistake many managers make. If I make all my team happy, they'll do a better job. What you want is passionate people, people who believe that what you're doing is worthwhile. That's why they come into work, because it's worth doing what you're doing. And your job as a leader is to sell the vision and to explain to each person how their role is important in delivering the vision. And the vision always involves change. It always involves a challenge. It always involves a difficulty getting from where we are today to somewhere better in the future. And they have to believe that that future is worthwhile. The most famous vision statement of all was the one made by Kennedy in 1962 when he said, before this decade is out, we will send a man to the moon and return him safely to Earth. That was the vision statement. Nobody knew how they were going to do it. He got together a bunch of really clever people. He said, here's some money, you figure it out. And you know what? They did. And it's the same with your people. You've got a lot of very clever people, but they need to be told where to go. They need to be told what the direction is. They need to be encouraged. And your job is to paint that vision. Xerox appointed a new CEO in 2001, a woman named Anne Mulcahy. And at that time, Xerox had been struggling. They were a product company. And her vision was to change the company into a services company doing all the document handling services for clients. So what did she do? She printed up a story that looked as though it was from the front page of the Wall Street Journal, dated 8 years in the future, 2009. And it talked about how Xerox had turned around and how they were helping customers overcome document handling needs. It was about how successful they'd been in achieving the turnaround. She painted the picture of what the future would look like. And she gave a copy of that to every employee. And then they understood. They got it. They realized where they were headed. And that's your job as a leader, is to paint a vision of a better future. Once you've done that, your job is to empower people, to give them the capability to try new things. Let me tell you a couple of stories. I like stories. I'd like to tell you the story of a man called Ted Hoff. And Ted Hoff got a PhD, a doctorate in electronics in 1969. And he wanted to get some work. So he joined a little company. He was the 12th employee in a tiny little company called Intel. And Intel got a job from a Japanese calculator manufacturer, and they said to Intel, we want you to redesign the 12 hardwired circuits that go into our calculators. Here are the current circuits. We want you to make them faster and denser. They gave the job to Ted Hoff. He had never worked on calculator circuits before. And he looked at these circuits, and he went to his boss, and he said to his boss, what the customer has asked for is 12 hardwired circuits. But I think it may be possible to produce one circuit which could do all 12 functions if we program it. Can I try that, please? And his boss, to his eternal credit, said, yes, it's a crazy idea. You try it. See if it works. If it doesn't work, I'll get one of the experienced engineers to cover for you. Ted Hoff invented the microprocessor. And every device you've got today, whether it's a washing machine, a car, or a mobile phone, is packed full of microprocessors. And it fueled the growth of Intel into a multi-billion-dollar corporation, all because one boss said to one employee, yes, you can try your crazy idea. Now, here's the question. What would happen if Ted Hoff had worked for you in your business and had come to you and said, can I try this crazy thing? Because I think 9 out of 10 managers, maybe 99 out of 100 would say no. If the customer wants 12 hardwired circuits, we believe in customer satisfaction. Give the customer what they asked for and move on to the next job. Is that what would have happened? And if that's the case, you would have missed the microprocessor. Let's roll the video forward 10 years. 1979, I was a young salesman working for IBM. Very young. And one of our competitors was a company called DEC, Digital Equipment Corporation. And there was a man working at DEC called Dan Bricklin. And he went to his boss one day and he said, I've come up with this very flexible way of manipulating numbers on a big sort of ledger. And his boss said to him, look, I've told you before, we're a hardware company, not a software company. We can't do anything with your ideas. Get back to what you should be doing. Focus on your job. So Dan Bricklin quit his job in DEC. And he developed that idea, which he called the spreadsheet. And he launched the world's first spreadsheet, VisiCalc. The company he formed was called VisiCorp. And nowadays, every PC in the world has a spreadsheet on it. There are more PCs sold than motor cars or televisions. DEC lost the spreadsheet because one manager was focused on doing his job. What would have happened if Dan Bricklin worked for you in your company and came to you and said, look, I've come up with this amazing way of manipulating numbers. I think 9 out of 10 bosses would say what his boss said. Forget it. But the innovative leader is always prepared to listen. The innovative leader is always prepared to take a detour and to consider something a little bit silly, if only for a short period. Because Einstein said, every truly great idea initially appears absurd. Absurd, ridiculous. All the great ideas, initially they look silly. So if you throw away all the silly ideas, you're never going to get the really great ones. Sometimes you have to throw away a lot of ideas, sure. But just think about them a little first. So empower your employees. Encourage them to try things. The next thing I would say to you is this. You need to generate a lot of ideas if you're going to be innovative. And you need to generate ideas internally in the company. Have you got a good suggestion scheme in your company? Who's got a good suggestion scheme that generates a lot of ideas in their business? Don't be afraid. I was promised a live audience tonight. Where are they? Yes. Well, if you don't have a good suggestion scheme, you should, because you've got lots of bright people and they've got lots of ideas, and you can get those ideas virtually for free. Toyota get 2 million suggestions a year in their suggestion scheme. 2 million. And they implement most of them. They have 300,000 employees, so it's about 6 suggestions per employee. And they're into Kaizen, continuous improvement. So anybody who sees a better way to do something is encouraged to put it in as a suggestion. The tool should be here instead of here. Any small change in the process, they put it in so that they can be rolled out across all of Toyota. And the bigger the company, the more important it is that you have a good suggestion scheme. I spoke at Ideas UK conference, and one of the other speakers was from Siemens Drives in Congleton in England. And they employ about 400 people making motorized drives. And the previous year they had implemented 7 suggestions per employee. And their target was to implement 9 suggestions per employee the coming year. So if you're not doing this, you should be. And if you've got a suggestion scheme which is sluggish, you need to rejuvenate it, regenerate it. And what I recommend is that you have a rolling series of campaigns. You don't say, give us your ideas. People will say, wouldn't it be nice if we had an extra day off in the summer? Or wouldn't it be nice if we had a picnic? What you say is, this month we need your ideas for how to surprise and delight customers. This month we need your ideas for how to recruit the best engineers. And then this month we need ways to save cost and to eliminate waste. So you have a constant new emphasis, rolling campaigns. And you put up posters and you encourage ideas and you give people small rewards. The most important thing people want is to know that some of the ideas get implemented. So when you implement an idea, you make a lot of fuss about it. You say, we got this idea from Mohammed here and it's making a big difference. And people say, oh, they listen. If they put in lots of ideas, they never hear anything, they stop putting in ideas. So what you want is a lot of ideas, and you want to encourage people to give you ideas. And that's how you do it. And the next thing I would say to you is this. Not only do you need to look inside for ideas, you need to look outside for ideas. One of the best ways to innovate is to get somebody else's idea and to implement it in your business. All right? And there's lots of ways to do this. You can copy other people's ideas, you can adapt other ideas, or you can use what's the buzzword now in the innovation industry is open innovation and crowdsourcing. And open innovation and crowdsourcing are the big new mantras which everyone hopes is going to transform innovation. And the CEO of Procter & Gamble, Alan Lafley, famously set a target that 50% of their new products in Procter & Gamble would come from outside the company. Up until then, they've done all their development in-house and their own research and development, but the yield was going down and down and down. He said, let's look outside. We don't have all the best ideas. We don't have all the best scientists. Let's encourage other people, and they do that now. And so do Reckitt Benckiser and Unilever and Kimberly-Clark and Johnson & Johnson. All the big consumer product companies are looking outside for ideas. And they deliberately go outside and they deliberately encourage people to submit ideas. And then crowdsourcing goes one stage further, where you take a challenge and you throw it out to a crowd specifically. And you say, give us your ideas to help with this. And there's all sorts of techniques to do that. BP did it when they had the big problem with the Deepwater Horizon disaster in the Gulf of Mexico. They set up a crowdsourcing site for ideas. And they said, give us your ideas. And Innocentive, if you haven't looked at a site like Innocentive or Nine Sigma or Top Coder, you should be looking at those sites, because that's what a lot of companies are doing. They're taking the toughest ideas, the toughest problems in chemistry, in physics, in engineering, and they're putting it out to the crowd and saying, we don't know how to solve this problem. We'll pay $10,000 to anyone who could solve this problem. Some guy sitting in Bucharest or Shanghai says, cool, that's easy, I can do that. And that's the way crowdsourcing works. So I would encourage you to look outside for ideas, to look inside for ideas, and to empower your people. And the final thing I would say is this. You've got to be prepared to fail more. Innovation means trying things that don't work. And what I say to my clients who I work with is this: fail often and fail cheap. Try lots of things, and if they don't work, stop them. The innovative leader today has to be an arsonist and a firefighter. You go around starting fires, and you go around putting them out at the same time. And you're constantly trying new things. And if everything you try works, you're not being bold enough. You're not being brave enough. You've got to try some things that don't work, because it's the things that don't work that eventually lead to something big. You know, I'm staying over by the tennis center in Dubai. I'm staying at the Jumeirah Creekside. It's right next to the tennis center. And if you go and watch any big tennis match, if you watch Novak Djokovic play or Roger Federer, you'll see he serves double faults. Why does Roger Federer serve double faults? He doesn't need to. He could get his second serve in very safely. But he knows that's a foolish strategy. He's pushing his second serve as hard as he can because he doesn't want to give away, he doesn't want to make it easy for his opponent. You've got to serve some double faults in your business, provided you learn from them. The key thing about failure is that it's a route to success. It's a route to learning. And if you employ it like that, then it can be very successful. There's a university in America called Penn State University, and in their engineering course for students, engineering undergraduates, there's a class called Failure 101. And to pass the course, you have to fail. It's kind of a crazy concept. But you can't fail by not turning up for lectures. You have to build a structure, a tower, and then stress it and see it fail. You have to have a project fail, because understanding failure is an important part of the development of an engineer. He has to know how far he can push that project before it collapses. So you need to fail more, you need to learn from failure. And your motto, if you're going to be an innovative leader, if you want more innovation in your business, I recommend you use this motto. We celebrate success here. We learn from failure. And we punish inaction. Inaction. So when you find something that works, you celebrate it. We got this idea from Muhammad. It works really well. We'll tell everyone about it. We tried something else. Ibrahim tried this. It didn't work. What have we learned from it? We've learned something useful. But the guy you come down on hard is the manager who sat on a problem and hasn't done anything about it for a long time. That is what you don't want. People sitting on problems. You want people to try things. So that's my message to you. Start with a vision of a better future and communicate that vision to your people. Don't say just be innovative. Say we're here today, we're going to be somewhere better, and I need your help to get there. Empower your people to try things. Encourage them to try new things. Listen to their ideas. Encourage ideas through a suggestion scheme. You want a lot of ideas internally. You want to look outside for ideas deliberately with a portal, with a website which encourages people to come to you. Sabic want ideas. Baruch want ideas from outside. All right? You want those ideas. And then be prepared to allow some failure. Your job is not to minimize risk. Your job is to manage risk. If you're in business, you're at risk. You can't avoid it. You can't avoid risk. So your job is to manage the risk, to play the game like Roger Federer, serve some double faults. And if you do those things, you'll be even more successful, even more innovative. I would like to thank you, and I'd like to congratulate all of the winners and all of the contenders for this evening's prizes. Thank you very much.